Hello and welcome to another episode of Reworked. I'm Dave, and today's episode we're starting a new project. This is a E82 135i manufactured in June of '09. So I assume that makes it a 2010 model, but I'm not sure exactly when the production date switches over. You'll see a lot of YouTube videos, or at least thumbnails, saying I bought the cheapest whatever, and usually, some terrible outcome. I don't know that this is the cheapest 135 roller in the country, but it was the first one that I found that met all my requirements. I was looking for a car that was already a manual, had a good body and paint job in terms of it wasn't a rebuilt title or anything, so clear title and in a good color. And this is Sedona Red, which is one of my favorite colors on the E82. So I found this one in the Nashville area about a month ago, and it was very, very cheap. It's only got about 110,000 miles, but reason it was cheap is that it doesn't have a motor, or it has a core of a motor lying there that I'll show you later that is more or less useless. So this car was parked 4 years ago for rod knock, and they took the motor out and disassembled it and never fixed it or put it back together. So some of the parts that should have come with it are missing. For instance, it doesn't have a radiator, it doesn't have an expansion tank, it doesn't seem to have a left motor mount. It comes with a right motor mount, things like that. So I've been on a hunt for parts, trying to buy used, but I've had to buy a few things new. And then the other part of this equation is I already had this N54 engine sitting in the corner of my shop for a few years, and it came from an E60 535i car that was an automatic. And so I'm having to make the changes for differences in a 5 Series application of the N54 engine and the 1 and 3 Series, which I'm told are identical. So 1 and 3 are the same, but both are different than the 5. And then a couple differences in the manual versus automatic. For example, the automatic cars, the radiator assembly has a cooler for the automatic transmission fluid, and then the coolant pipe from the block to the water pump has a nipple to feed that system. So what today's episode is going to be about is just going over the changes that I found so far, the differences that I found so far in trying to adapt this 5 Series engine to the 1 Series. And of course, real OEM parts diagrams and cross-referencing the part numbers has been very helpful, but also looking online, asking people about differences. And I have a friend who's a BMW mechanic, and asking him about the differences. So I think I've lined up most of the parts I need to make the changes, but we'll see. So to give you an idea of changes between a 5 Series and the 1 Series that I'm talking about, I'll zoom in here on the engine. I was told that the coolant pipe from the block to the water pump was different, and they look a lot alike. This is the 1 and 3 Series, this is the 5 Series, but turns out that the 1 Series is shaped a little differently and would run into this 5 Series motor mount. So motor mount's got to come off. I need the 1 Series. So I just ordered one of those for, I think, $30 off of eBay, the right motor mount. Luckily it came with the left motor mount. So these that's the difference between these two pipes. But then somehow, and I don't know where I got this part, so I'm kind of losing configuration control. Here is the automatic version of the 1 and 3 series water pipe. So you can see it's identical except for this plumbing here. And so if I bought this, this was in error because I don't need it. So that's the water pipes. So the car didn't come with an intercooler either. And it's relatively easy to buy used intercoolers and turbos for these engines because so many people take the OEM parts off and go with bigger turbos, single turbos, etc. So I bought an intercooler, and I went to kind of dry fit it and found that this end of the pipe where it would meet the intercooler is both in the wrong place and the wrong angle, and it is a female connector, and the intercooler is also a female connector. So looking up the differences, this being a 5 series part, it turns out that the 1 and 3 from a similar point forward are different shape, and the 1 and 3 series ends with a male part. But what I didn't know until yesterday is that while this one lines up perfectly with this engine because it came off of it, this new part, or this 1 and 3 series part, when you made it up to the front turbo, you see this difference in location of where it should made up to the rear turbo. So I asked my friend the mechanic, and he said, oh yeah, the 5 series turbos are different, and I have to replace that. So I'm looking for a rear turbo right now. I found one on Marketplace, but haven't been able to meet up with the seller to pick it up. So that's two kind of major plumbing differences. Because the intercooler itself is in a different location relative to the front of the engine, as we witnessed with the length of that pipe that took the compressed air from the turbochargers to the intercooler, then you end up with wrong side. So we just looked at the plumbing that comes in here on this side of the intercooler, but on this side of the intercooler, this pipe that goes up to the charge pipe would also be a different shape than what it was on the 5 series. Now, I didn't have either the intercooler or this pipe from the 5 series, so I can't show you a direct comparison. I've bought a E90 turbo, so I'm filming this a couple days after the initial filming of the video. You can see the difference. Here's the E60 turbo output for the rear turbo, and here's the angle of the E90 turbo output. So I'm going to take the E60 one off, put the 90 one on, and then I'll be able to test fit the pipe from the turbos to the intercooler. So just as the geometry of the engine relative to the intercooler, the geometry of the engine relative to the radiator assembly is different, and so I bought some new 1 and 3 series specific coolant hoses. I don't have the 5 ones to show you the exact difference, And so that's what I found so far in changes in the engine between those two installations. As I move forward with the project, I'll probably run into one or two more differences, and I'll update the video. With the engine out of the way, we can get a better view of what was left with the chassis when they took the old engine out. I was kind of surprised to see that they had not disconnected the coolant loop for the air conditioner. They left all that plumbed, so theoretically it's still charged. They also did not disconnect the power steering loop. So with my replacement engine from the 5 Series, I took its air conditioner compressor off and its power steering pump off. Just going to mate the engine up to these, save myself those costs of getting the system recharged, assuming it is still charged, and all the leakage of power steering fluid. But I'm sure I'm going to find more things missing in here as I go to put it together. I do have this car, the parts came with the 1 Series, included the boost solenoid vacuum tanks. I have those. I've got the catalytic converters. But there's probably going to be lots of little plastic things that I don't have, and I'm going to end up having to buy. That'll be the problem of trying to recognize what I don't have. It'd be nice if I had a donor car, an entire car where you could look back and forth, but don't have that. I do have a 128 donor car, but that's probably not going to be much of a help, since there's so much difference between the N52 installation and the N54 installation. Here's the old engine that came out of the 135. This is the one that has rod knock. When I brought it home, I had intended to reuse this flywheel, clean it up, but this is a 6-bolt flywheel, 6-bolt crank, and when I took a look at the N54 out of the E60, it's an 8-bolt crank. So it's my understanding that the 8 bolts were earlier, and then BMW transitioned to the 6-bolt. But in either case, that means that whether this flywheel would even have been any good or not, it won't fit on the crankshaft of the E60 engine. So I had to locate another used flywheel in 8-bolt. And then you can see the state of this engine. It was left outside, so rusted cylinders, not much left on it, water pump, fuel pump, that's about it. But as far as changes between the E60 and E82 or E90, the number of bolts on the crankshaft was not specific to the model. It was changed by year. So early cars, 8 bolts, late cars, 6 bolts. So you need to think of that when you're buying parts. Make sure that you know which crankshaft your engine has. So in summary, the differences I've run into so far in the 5 Series N54 versus a 1 and 3 Series N54 is the geometry or shape of the pipe from the turbos to the intercooler, the water pipe from the block to the water pump. The rear turbo is a different shape, particularly where the output is relative to the pipe. The motor mounts are different. That's not a surprise. And the angle of the connectors to the intercooler is different. And number of the coolant hoses on the front of the engine are different. So that's what I've run into so far. I'll update the video when I get farther into putting it together and undoubtedly run into other issues. So I hope this is helpful if somebody else out there is using a 5 Series engine. I didn't know of obviously several of these differences. I kind of thought an N54 was an N54. But thank you for watching, and come back for the next video in the series when I get it ready, and I'd appreciate it if you would subscribe, like, and share. Thanks again.